Elevate your hatching egg shipping business with Beyond the Egg. Discover the art of premium packaging, master the details of shipping, and create an unforgettable experience for your customers. Enhance your reputation, build lasting trust, and set your business apart as the gold standard. Visit beyondtheegg.com to begin your journey to excellence.
Hey, poultry nerds, we are back. I'm Jennifer, and
I am Carrie.
we are going to start a new series called Next Level Nerds from Hobby to Hustle.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there who have taken their hobby to the next level and are making a business out of it. And we wanted to highlight those people and maybe inspire you to make a little money with those eggs in your backyard.
Or at least help you figure out if you want to run down the rabbit hole or just have some cute yard candy.
Which is nice too.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, we are going to kick this new series off with telling our stories of how we went from just eggs to a full-fledged business. And then we have some really cool people coming on to explain the avenues that they're taking to turn their hobby into a business, like later.
We're going to try to teach y'all how to make money.
We're going
with
to
all that you're spending.
Yeah, all those feed bags you're buying.
And there's a lot of people out there that they're just happy if they could offset their feed bill.
Yep.
Because if you feed them, we both know that ain't cheap. Offsetting your feed bill while enjoying your animals, that in itself is pretty huge, in my opinion. Yeah, let's talk about it. Figure it out.
All right. So I'm going to go first to tell you how I got started and at what point it kind of turned a sharp corner and went from, David, I just want a couple ducks in the backyard, to, wow, we're going to chicken shows and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And oh, by the way, yeah. And then he just rolls his eyes and goes, okay.
And look, guys, she is not bluffing. I have seen her pop off with some really out there ideas, and this man straight up, yes, dear.
He likes to build stuff, though.
He does like to build stuff. He's very good at building stuff.
Yeah.
Every farm needs a David.
Yep. So a little bit about my background is I actually grew up on a farm, not like a full-fledged farm, but we had cows and chickens and gardens, and mom canned, and just, I don't know, to me it was normal. I had a horse and went off to college and got an animal science degree and swore I would never own another chicken as long as I lived. Hated them. Never wanted to see them again. And managed to not have any for about maybe 15 years.
Okay. You held out for a while.
And so I looked at David one day and I said, I think that I want a chicken. So after he picked himself up off the floor, we decided on Orpingtons. He just instantly fell in love with them, never had Orpingtons. He's never had chickens before at all. And so we went on a shopping spree and found a guy that lived about an hour from us and had Orpingtons. And at this point, I did not know that there was a difference between production Orpingtons and exhibition Orpingtons. So we just picked up 10 chicks and went home. And then we had to go get food and we had to do all this brooders and we had to do all that stuff. And I wasn't on Facebook. I didn't know any of this stuff, just kind of winging it from this point because I was a kid and we always let Mama Hen do the chicks. So this part of it was all new to me. And then I went to the feed store and then we had ducks.
Man, that's how a lot of crap starts right there.
And then we had guineas. And then we had turkeys. And then I had a friend that had turkeys. And then we were sharing turkeys. And then I looked at our yard and I said, David, I need goats and I want like more dogs and stuff. And so then we went shopping and we actually bought a farm. And now we have cows, goats, pigs, dogs, quail, button quail, ducks, turkeys, Orpingtons still. We'll always have Orpingtons. And breasts. Is it? Oh, and 2 cats. Was that it?
Is there a partridge in a pear tree?
I have a garden. We garden too now. And I learned how to.
Did you forget cows?
I think I said cows.
Okay.
I have a Holstein. Her name's Mabel. She's like the mascot out in the field. You can't miss her. Well, so last year I got a livestock crayon. Have you ever played with a livestock crayon before? You can write on animals. So I went out there and wrote on.
Did you eat more chicken or something?
I did eat more quail. And
There
I
we
took
go.
some pictures because Chick-fil-A, for all of y'all people that not live in the South, we have Chick-fil-A and it's a Holstein. It says eat more chicken. So I wrote on the side of it, eat more quail, and then posted pictures of that. But I did it in red and then it started raining and it didn't look pretty. So next time I need to do it in blue, I think.
Somebody probably was like, oh my God, that cow's dying. The guy's shot.
Yeah, it wasn't really pretty.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're out at the farm. We have all these critters, and I start hatching. I had already been hatching, but now I like have the setup. Like I have the barn, and I got the good incubators because I had the crappy incubators before that you get borrowed from somebody's yard sale or something, and got a good incubator.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
You don't know till
That's right.
I start hatching, and I was like, oh, this is fun. So I can take all these eggs and I can make babies. This is awesome. And so I posted a sign out at the road and it said chicks for sale. And then people were coming and then more people were coming. And then I started selling eggs and then I had quail and started selling quail. And then guineas in the summertime, you can't hardly hatch enough guineas in Tennessee. And we sold them like all summer for 3 summers. And then David said,
Really?
"Get rid of the guineas."
Like people
Yeah.
buy that guinea.
Yeah, I can tell you the story, but I don't really want to offend anybody. So a lot of Westerners moved to Tennessee, and then I guess they don't know about ticks and chiggers. I don't know. Do they not have ticks and chiggers in the West? I have no idea. So they get on these Facebook groups and they're like, what do we do with ticks and chiggers? And I think people are mean to them and tell them they need guineas. And so they would come here and
Yeah.
I need 20 guineas. And if they said they needed 20 guineas, I sold them 20 guineas.
When somebody says, hey, I need this, don't argue with them.
No. But if they come and they say, we just moved here and we have ticks and chiggers and we saw online that guineas eat them. What's your opinion? And I'm like, that's true. They do eat them. And got a little bit more information to find out they only had 5 acres and they were told they needed 20 guineas.
In all actuality, I think 20 guineas would more than fix the problem.
I didn't even have 20 guineas.
Like, holy cow, 20 guineas for 5 acres?
I think at one point I think the most I had was like a dozen or 15 because it's about all I could stand. And I just would tell them, just stand here for a minute and let them get going. And I would make some kind of noise to get them going. And I was like, that's like a dozen out there going. So you tell me, how loud do you want it to be at your house? How much do you like your neighbors? And they would usually leave with 5 or 6. But at the end of the summer, all those people who bought 20 guineas would text me or call me and, do you
want some back?
Nope. I do not want them back. But eventually David he kind of looked at me one day and he said, "Really over the guineas. I'm really over them." And since he doesn't say stuff
Were
like
they
that,
being loud?
so we were on the back deck trying to eat breakfast, and they were on the far side of the barn, and they were so loud we could not have a conversation. So he went inside and closed the door, and he just looked at me. He goes, "Please, can we get rid of the guineas?" And since he doesn't ask me for a lot like that, I got rid of the guineas because, truth be told, I was really sick of them too. You can't handle them. I have scars all over my arm from trying to handle them. Their talons are like razor blades, and they're super hard to sex. I got really good at it once they were adults, but they are incredibly hard to sex. So, yeah,
That sucks.
yeah. They have, I forget what they're called, the things on the side of their head, the horns, I guess, on the side of their head. I forget what they're called. That the males would be like more upright and a little bit larger, and then the females would be a little bit smaller and sloped down. That's literally the only difference, aside from an egg coming out of one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you just have to flip over your bucket and sit out there and watch and be like,
Yes.
and then chase that one down and hope that you catch that one and put a little pink leg band around it or something.
So I had white and lavender guineas, which kind of was a specialty thing, and I got them on accident too. But to go into the cage, because I had them in a cage to collect their eggs because they're seasonal layers, and to go in there, I had to wear a ball cap, a denim jacket, and leather gloves because that's the only way you can catch them. They will slice you open if you're not careful. Not meaning to, they won't attack you, but if you're trying to pick them up and handle them, their nails are just that sharp. They're razor sharp. They just weren't fun, and he didn't like them, so I got rid of them. But anyway, so the point of all of this is, where did it turn to go towards business? And that was when I decided to start selling hatching eggs and learn all the ins and outs of how to do that legally, which is the NPIP, how to box them, which is the foam and the double boxing, and then how to find buyers. Because remember, I wasn't on Facebook until about 5 years ago. COVID is when I got on Facebook. And then Facebook doesn't allow animal sales, so they kept shutting my farm page down. So I just went around them and created my own website. And that's how I started selling hatching eggs. And I couldn't find a foam supplier that could keep up with the demand. So I designed and created my own foam and started selling that. And then expanded to boxes and if I use it, then I would just buy extra and sell it. And it's just gone from, hey, I just need 10 Orpington chicks to full-fledged website and have feed delivered by the pallets.
It happens.
Yeah. So I hope that kind of makes sense how it started and kind of made a right-hand turn into a full-fledged business. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So the basis of my business would be hatching eggs of all the species. I sell live birds, obviously, live birds. I ship live birds. I ship frozen birds. I dehydrate for pets. And then I sell the products for the other breeders to support their business. Yep. And now I have ventured into more website design and creating courses on how to do it to become a seller of things. So it's just a domino effect.
So now you're teaching people how to run down that rabbit hole.
Yes, I'm enabling.
I was going to say, we're such enablers.
Yeah, we're really bad.
To me, I don't know.
We forgot the best part. And then that started, Talk Chicken. So then that led to podcast, right?
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know, we met like about 2 years ago, and I was wanting to do a podcast, but I didn't want to do it by myself. So I asked Carrie to do it with me, and he was okay, whatever. And now I know that in the back of his head, he's like, nobody's going to listen to two weirdos talk about chickens.
I'm going to be honest. Look, in the beginning, I was like, man, I'm going to learn a lot from this lady. People aren't going to listen because they don't listen to that kind of stuff, but
They do.
25,000 downloads later, here we are.
Yeah.
So
it's a thing.
yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah.
It is definitely a thing.
But how did you get started?
When I was a kid, my granddaddy was a huge role model to me, and he had reds, and I don't know what kind these little black bantam chickens were that were tiny and they laid a small egg, but he called them bannies. So it was the little black ones, the Rhode Island Reds, and he had some game fowl. And that was probably some of my fondest memories of him. And I've always wanted to delve back into that, but never really been able to. And like 8 or 9 years ago, my wife and I, we were renting a house in a neighborhood, and we were going to buy it. And then they decided, oh, we don't want to sell it. We just want to keep renting it to y'all. And I was like, I'm tired of not putting money into something that's going to be mine. So we started looking for land, and we found us a spot that is very close to town, but I'm not in any city limits. So I can do what I want to do. And it's at the end of a dead end road. So it's pretty nice. And we built a house, and I'm going to give me some chickens. And I found a lady down in Shelby County that had some Rhode Island Reds that I looked long and hard, and they were about the best ones I could find. And so that's what I did. I said, hey, I want to get 20 chicks. And she was like, I'll put you on my list. And then she gave me a hatch date, and she said, come a couple of days after that. So I did. Raised them suckers up. And they weren't they were Rhode Island Reds, but they were not Reds. My quest began to find Reds or breed Reds and get standard Reds. And in amongst that, I was able to come across some game fowl that reminded me of the ones that my granddaddy had as well. And I'm raising these, doing what I can, and hatching everything I can to try to enrich this. And I start finding out manganese and stuff will help get them redder. So I start looking at my feed, and my feed sucked. And so I started trying to figure out ways to make it better. And so let me get this and mix it with that and mix that. And I find myself spending hours every week mixing up some feed with all kinds of different grains and some pellets and stuff like that. And that was a headache. And so I actually asked you about my Reds, and you were like, I don't know. You need to join this group, and you need to look for this guy.
Is that how?
No, we'd met before that.
Okay. I don't remember.
I'd asked you about quail because they inched their way into this whole thing too. We came into it, and you were like, join this Facebook group, find this guy. Ask him. He knows everything about reds. I'm like, okay. Sounded good to me. I didn't think it would be very fruitful, but I met a man that has, over the last couple of years, become one of my best friends.
Rip.
Yep. Rip. And he basically told me that I could get them there, but it was going to be a long process. And he showed me what some of his reds looked like. And I was like, those are reds. That mahogany deep red colors. And things progressed, and I was actually able to get some standard reds from the Tompkins bloodline. And I've been working with those for about a year and some change now, year and a half. So that's where I've got those from. And I've also got a lot of quail because you
Enabled you.
Yeah, you were an enabler, which I will say, in your defense, a lot of quail people are enablers because we like to share our passion with folks, but their eggs taste pretty good. Their meat's pretty lean. And with the quail, I was like, I'm just going to get me a few because I like to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted Bob Whites, but that's like a whole different world. And because some more of my favorite memories with my granddaddy was quail hunting for Bob Whites. And they have that whistle that I really enjoy listening to. And the Coternics that I have, their crow is more like I stuck my finger in a light socket type, like a wiki or some kind of crap. But that was a whole road that I wasn't really prepared for, because once people found out that I had quail, they wanted some, and they wanted them alive. They wanted them grown. They wanted chicks. They wanted hatching eggs. And then I had somebody approach me about feeders, and they want those, which is a thing. It's a whole different world. And from working with my game fowl and my reds, I finally decided that it's time to share those. I also have a really good set of hardy, vigorous American breasts. And so I finally started selling hatching eggs. And that's a different world. Quail hatching eggs, that's one thing, but you get into a standard red or something else that's a really good bloodline, and people really get excited about that. And I get it. I was excited when I was practically gifted a trio of standard reds. So it's become a thing. I'll sell my quail eggs to anybody that wants them, but my chicken eggs, I'm pretty particular with who I let have them, because I do want to make sure that they maintain the bloodlines and not just stick them somewhere and let whatever do whatever and act like they're the reds that I have or the breasts that I have. So there's that. And I went from a Nature Right 360, enjoying that little chirp, to now I have 5 cabinet incubators, 3 minimum running around the clock, and a hatcher that's about the size of a refrigerator. And I recently purchased a redwood incubator that I've got to, they had to get a special piece of equipment to get it out of their building to be able to load it for me. So we're going to do that later on, and I'm going to get that into my warehouse. But it holds 25,000 quail eggs, and it's functional. It's a rabbit hole you can go down. It went from wanting to cover the feed bill to can't find good feed to now I actually have a feed company where we make supplements and we make breeder feed and things like that for people that couldn't find it. Some say it don't exist, but hey, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. It does exist. We got it and we ship it, and it's a thing. So it's a world that's been really good to me.
We'll be right back.
Looking to rock some seriously comfy gear? If you love chickens and you're all about that fun style, then Chicken Box has got the perfect t-shirts for you. From quirky designs to classic looks, their shirts are as comfy as us chicken tenders deserve. They even have a subscription service so your coop doesn't get bored. Head over to PoultryNerdsPodcast.com and click on Chicken Box to get your comfy shirts and support the podcast.
So your direction went a little bit different because you went into the nutrition versus where I went. But we're both into supporting other breeders with our businesses.
Yeah. So, like for you, your problem that you had was you couldn't get a good supply of egg foam. So you had to fix that, and you did. And other people, myself included, are glad that you did that because I don't have to worry about a supply. Eggfoam.com has a container full of it, and she can help you out. The thing for me that I really get nerdy when it comes to the nutrition side, because there's a lot of things that are similar and a lot of things that aren't with the different animals. That was my quest, was to find adequate food for my animals to be able to see what their genetic potential was, so I knew exactly what I had. And it's made a huge difference. It's been really exciting.
So you had to make it yourself.
Yeah, because I met Jeff and we started having conversation, and it doesn't exist. Period. And I was like, that's ridiculous, because I'm sure I'm not the only person with this problem. He said, you're right. Just people don't want to pay for it. I said, I want my birds to have the best. So tell me what that is. And he did. And I went from ordering some bags for me to ordering some bags for me and some friends to shipping it by the ton all over the country to people.
And delivering.
Yep. And I do run a delivery route and have it in the Birmingham area for people to come pick up too.
Oh, and you forgot the cages. Now you sell cages too.
Oh yeah, I do. So I do have cages, because apparently that's another problem that people have, which I had that problem. And so I sourced cages where I could get them at a reasonable price and be able to help people out at a reasonable price and fix that problem for people. So I guess for me, what I would say is, if you're wanting to figure out a way to essentially cover the feed bill, find a problem and fix it. And then once other people find out that they have the same problem you did and what you did to fix it, then help them with it.
But the problems will come, but you don't really have to look very hard.
Oh my God.
They appear when you're trying to do farm animals, they appear pretty readily.
So I recently picked up some Nigerian dwarfs who I thought it's just some goats. Okay. Now I'm figuring out that you got to take really good care of your goats, more so than a lot of other farm animals, or they'll just fall over dead.
Yeah, that was a whole conversation before we hit the record button, because I didn't send you home with any goats on Saturday. I mean, you just took them.
Yeah. I did pick them up and give them a hug and put them in the back of the truck.
I would like to know what Tamara's face was when she saw them.
Actually, okay, so this is how it went down. She actually thought they were cute.
Aw, they are cute.
The black one that I have has this like white glow around its actual eye. And she just thought that was beautiful. And then the white goat that I have has beautiful eyes too. So that's become a thing. I think that's something, we have a toddler, and I think that's something that Christy would play with. I'm pretty much got a green light to make a big area just for said goats and see how it works. When I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I had a goat that I played with, like somebody would play with a dog, and we would headbutt in the yard.
And that's what's wrong with you.
That's what's wrong. Oh, and since we're talking about the goats, on my way to the warehouse today, I found a double slide, like step to some kind of kid's toy type thing that looked atrocious, but it wasn't broken on the side of the road. Since I was in a truck, I picked it up, put it in the back, got here, sprayed it down with some Lysol and some degreaser and hosed it off, got it really good and clean. And I think my kids are going to love it.
Okay.
The
so
goats and the toddler.
we have to back up for just a minute because the truck that you were in had to be purchased to deliver said feed that you have to mill for said buyers.
Yeah, that rabbit hole grew quickly because I had a 20-foot trailer that would haul like 8 to 10,000 pounds pretty easy, but it was open, and I really wanted an enclosed trailer or something. I really wanted a box truck, but I thought that was out of the way. And then one of my buddies was like, "Hey, I got a friend that's trying to sell a 16-foot and got a really good deal on it." And it's come in very handy.
So the cool thing about all of this is you make a business out of it, but you still got food to eat and food to share and food to preserve and eggs to eat.
Oh yeah, like I have a kitchen table that's got eggs in plastic trays waiting to either be put in foam to ship, put in a refrigerator, or let somebody get them from me for some purpose. And I have a 17 cubic foot, a 10 cubic foot, and a 22 cubic foot deep freeze. And the 22 cubic foot has some room in it. The 17 does not, and the 10 may have a little bit.
Both of my freezers are completely slam pack full, and I have another cow going in July. So I have to get to canning or have a big barbecue.
So right now I have a boar that needs to be no more, and I have nowhere to put him after they get done. So I'm looking for a deal for a deep freeze. Yeah. Farming you can put a few dollars in your pocket to give you some return on your investment and have fun. You can also use it to feed your family and benefit that way, because I don't know if anybody's noticed and looked at their grocery bill lately, but it's not getting cheaper. And you are what you eat.
Yeah. So hopefully our purpose with this new series is to show you that you can still do what you wanted to do and maybe make a little bit of money with it or turn it into a whole thing that is a business. Carrie's retiring from his other job here soon to do this full time. I was already semi-retired and now I'm not. I work this 12 hours a day, it seems like, especially during spring.
Mhm.
Yep. But farming isn't for the faint of heart. I have not been on a vacation in 6 years. 2019 was last vacation. And we don't have anybody to help take care of the animals. And there's not really where I want to go anyway. So there's pros and cons to everything. So you got to think about that kind of stuff.
Hey, I could bring my farmer hand up there, and you and David could get away for a few days.
That might be nice. We could work that trade out.
I mean, he wouldn't mind getting out of town and coming to Tennessee for a few days.
Yeah,
So,
we might could do that.
heck, I might could talk my wife into coming up there and us get away for a few days.
And let your farmhand stay there. So we have some people on the books we're going to have on. We're not going to do this all the time, maybe like once a quarter. We'll do this series. And the next guests that we're recording with have turned it into, they do pastured meat, and they have turned it into a local source for homegrown meat and are supplying local businesses. So we're going to try to bring in all these different avenues to show you like where the business can turn, all the different areas it can turn to, and hopefully maybe give you some ideas and inspire you a little bit to turn your stuff into a business.
Yep.
So thank you guys for listening. As always, subscribe and leave a review if you don't mind.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us this week. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can receive new episodes right when they are released. And they're released every week. Feel free to email us at poultrynerds@gmail.com to share your thoughts about the show. Until next time, Poultry Pals, keep clucking, keep learning, and keep it exciting. This is Carrie signing off from Poultry Nerds. Feathers up, everyone.